Supplementary from Stephen Flynn.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Secretary of State, just to build on the two previous points that have been made, obviously there was a significant announcement from your government last year in respect of last week, in respect of welfare and the planned £5 billion reduction in expenditure. Are you in a position to advise the committee as to whether the Scottish Government have been made aware of the financial impact upon them of that decision, and indeed what the financial cost of that decision actually is?
Well, obviously this will all be laid out in the spending review, but the financial impact of the decisions last week on the Scottish Government budget that's been announced is zero, and that's been communicated to the Scottish Government. So
your view is that there's not going to be any consequential impact from the £5 billion cut in welfare by the UK Government? There's going to be no financial impact upon the Scottish Government at all in terms of their spending portfolio?
The numbers will be laid out in the spending review, and in fact some of the numbers may be laid out in the spring statement in little over 24 hours time, but the current communication to the Scottish Government is there will be no reduction in their budget up to the end of this current spending round, which is 25-26.
So in 26 going forward then, the UK Government have obviously taken a decision in respect of a £5 billion cut in welfare. You would presumably have been privy to that as a cabinet sign-off. Are you in a position to tell us what the financial impact to the Scottish Government will be? And I say that on the basis that, as you know, personal independence payments are being phased out in Scotland and replaced by adult disability payments, and that's undoubtedly going to have a financial impact upon people who are in receipt of that, is it not?
Well, I think it's really important to be clear, Madam Chair, that the £5 billion reduction that's been touted in terms of the figures is a £5 billion reduction in the increase, not in the £5 billion in the current budget, and that's why the impact on the Scottish budget is zero in terms of what's been produced. In terms of going forward, those figures will be announced in the spending review and in the spring statement, as they would always be in terms of that information. So those figures will come out as and when they are available.
Do you know how many people in Scotland are in receipt of adult disability payments?
You're probably going to be able to tell me, but I think it's probably somewhere in the region of 300,000.
433,000 people.
It's higher than the rest of the UK.
You are ultimately unsure as to whether there's going to be funding in place to support them in their lives going forward. And your answer to me today is we have to wait and see for a spending review. Surely, as Scotland's man in the Cabinet, you were sitting there and privy to this information. You can share that information with the committee and with the Scottish Government. And we're talking about a resetting of relationship, Secretary of State. It doesn't sound like there's a lot of respect going on here.
You've answered your own question, if you don't mind me saying, because adult disability payments are devolved. The funding of that is subsequently devolved. So the decisions about adult disability payments in Scotland lie with the Scottish Government, not the UK Government. And therefore the certainty requiring the certainty you're demanding of people those 432,000 people who are in receipt of ADP in Scotland, that certainty has to be supplied to them by the Scottish Government because it's a devolved benefit.
You're effectively washing your hands of the decision that the UK Government have taken. There's no consequential impact upon Scotland. Well, of the decision.
If I could gently say, if it was the other way around, I would fully expect your question to be why you're riding roughshod over the devolution settlement. This is a devolved payment. It was devolved under the 2016 Scotland Act, a whole host of other devolved welfare payments, and therefore the money is devolved. There's £4.9 billion extra between now and the end of 25-26, and it's up to the Scottish Government to spend that money in any which way they wish to spend it, and therefore if it's a devolved payment, it's the responsibility to remove that uncertainty by the Scottish Government determining how they're going to deal with this particular issue.
We're going to move on now to supplementary estimates and the question.